Good morning, magical women. How are we this morning? This morning we're going to be talking about being strong women, but actually powerless in relationship, right? Because I see it a lot, these powerful, strong women that have everything going on outside in their world, but when they close the door behind them in a relationship, they find themselves in this place where, things aren't going all nicely and neatly as they think that they're supposed to be, right? So I'd love for you to put in the chat how you're going today. Let me see if we're on live. We are. Let me just put that up there so that I can see it. So I'd love for you to let me know how you're going in the chat. Put hashtag replay if you're watching the recording, if you're not on live. We've just started Pause Up again this last couple of weeks. And this is something that we're going to be doing every Tuesday at 8:30. Just a little interaction, right, in between, to do a bit of a deep dive into what it is that we're creating in our relationships, and really to look at our, consciousness when it comes to relationships with ourselves and others. So I want to share a little bit of a story. I was one of these strong, powerful, successful women. I want you to throw a love heart into the comments if you consider yourself a strong, powerful, successful woman. Throw a love heart in the comments, because I would say that this group has got many strong, powerful women in it. I was one of those women. I had it all sorted out. I was a remedial massage therapist quite a few years ago. 25 years I've been a therapist. I'm not practicing anymore. But 25 years of massaging, and I had a really successful, this is about 13 years ago now. I had a really successful business. I was doing 6 to 7 massages a day, sometimes 6 days a week. My health was in really good nick. I had, running a beautiful household, single mum, great kids, all the things. Everything was going really well. And then I met this man who was really, as with others, really attracted to what was going on in this success, this things that was going on in my life, and the look of who I was, how I was, what I was being, all of those things, right? And so, people get drawn to that energy. People get drawn to success. They get drawn to abundance. They get drawn to confidence and self-assurance and all of those things, right? And they want a little piece of it. Tell me in the chat if you've had that experience where someone's wanted a little piece of your self-assurance, right? And so anyway, infiltrated himself into our little circle, into our space. And then what happened was, after a while, we got married, and after a while, he just completely changed and wanted to create, these things in our life, like making big differences in the way we were operating, like all of the success. He was jealous of my relationship with my kids. He wanted to change the routine that we were having and implement new strategies and new ways of being. And I was trying to go with the flow, and I was trying to make it work, but it wasn't. And he was really emotionally unavailable. In fact, after a while, it took a few friends to sort of bump me on the head, and it took a while, but I realized I was in a toxic relationship, and that toxic relationship started to affect all of the things that were around me. My relationship with my friends, my business started, it was still successful, but it just, like I was not right. I personally was not right. My relationship with my kids changed, right? My health started to decline a bit. Hey, Irene. Things started to shift because when you're not internally happy, then you can't, the imposter syndrome thing, right? You can't let that energy that energy just naturally comes out, and it's something that you can't hide or deny from people. It's seen, like people feel it, right? People feel when things are not quite okay. And so, it started making a big difference in the way I was behaving and the way I was being. And I couldn't work out what was going on. And so, what does a strong, powerful, successful woman do? She tries to fix it, right? So I started trying to fix him. I started trying to fix the relationship. I started trying to fix, I was putting my hands in and juggling all of these things. I was trying to fix everything. And it just didn't work. It, people have their own opinions. People have their own choices. We can't change somebody else if they don't want to be changed. And it was a really hard lesson. I stayed for a long time trying to fix the relationship, trying to fix it, looking at myself, what was I doing wrong, wondering why I wasn't, why was I not worthy of a beautiful, loving relationship? And, you start looking internally as, it's my fault, and, all of the things, and not getting your needs met, not feeling fulfilled and loved and supported and validated and witnessed, and going into that spiral of maybe this is all I deserve. Maybe there are no good ones out there, which is, one of the things that you hear out there in the world is that there's all the good ones are taken, right? And so I started thinking that this is all I deserved. And so and you don't actually use those words, by the way. It's not like you even consider, those words come up and go, this is all I deserve. It's more like it's a feeling. It's more like it's tethered to something that's from your childhood, and you you haven't got everything that you've wanted in your life. And so good morning, Judy. And rings bells, right? Love to hear your version of being a powerful woman, right? And then finding yourself in this relationship where you're not getting the love and support, right? And so there's this tethering that happens. So you have this feeling that's going on, or an experience that's happening, and it starts tethering to an old pattern from your childhood. And so it's not that you start going, I don't deserve anymore. There's no words that come with it. It's the feeling and this drop of energy. Like you start settling for less than you deserve. And so it was a bit of a journey. It was something that it took me a while, and I've watched it play out in many women, in clients, in friends, people that have got it all together, and everything looks like is rosy and fine and all of the things, because we're doing all of the doing. We're in action. We're creating, but we're creating from this place of living the dream. But is it really our dream when we go back into an environment, into a house where you're not being, there's no contribution to support in the family. There might not be any emotional support. There's no witnessing how your day was. There's, like slack energy, like no one doing anything but you. You're the one that's doing all the work. And it becomes draining, right? It becomes really draining when you're finding yourself in this relationship and not knowing how to get out. And so something shifted for me. Something shifted when it got really bad. I stayed for a long time. In fact, I'm one of these crazy people that, I had been spiritually awake for a long time. And so I was like, how come this is happening energetically? How have I created this again, right? Because I'd been in a relationship with the father of my kids where it was similar things going on, and I left that relationship and spent 10 years by myself. And in that 10 years, that was when I spiritually woke up accidentally. It wasn't something that I was expecting to happen. Went to a psychic and she said, oh, you can do what I do, and I didn't believe her. Next thing I know, I've got energies around me touching me and all sorts of crazy stuff, and went on this spiritual journey of awakening. But I'd been on that journey for a while before I met this guy. So I was really surprised that here I was again. And so I was like, how did I create this? Why did I create this in my life? And so I stayed and I stayed and I stayed to the point where my daughter actually left home and moved in with her father because she couldn't be in the house and live in the same place with this guy and with us. And so I was in, she's like an hour and a half away from me, so I was like having to go backwards and forwards and make sure she was okay and build the relationship up and all of those things. And we went to a self-care abdominal massage, like Mayan abdominal massage course for a weekend. And it was all about being in your feminine energy, all about being in your being, really looking deeply into your womb energy, into your sacredness. And through that process of really diving deep and recognizing my internal spirit, my pure spirit, I realized that as a healer, I had this belief, and it was just this little tiny thing, right? And it doesn't take much. It can be one little thought process that can hold you in a pattern that you're not even aware that you're in, right? And so this one little thought that as a healer, I had to heal everyone. I had to be there to support people. I needed to be the one to change people's lives. And I don't know if it was from this life. I feel it might be, because I grew up with the dad that was on a kidney machine, right? So you go into this, I was always, putting his dialysis together and all those things. So I grew up in that role of supporting and looking after and being the good girl, right? Who's the good girl here? All of those things. And so when I recognized this thought that I had to heal everyone, 70% of it, I reckon, 70% of anything that you're going through is the acknowledgement of it. And just recognizing that belief set me free, because I realized that that's a bit of a God ego, right? Who am I to think that I have the right to heal everyone that comes along my path? I don't, and I'm not, I don't have to be that powerful. I can say no if I want to, and people have choice. Everyone has choice to be whoever they want to be. And so once I realized that recognition of, actually, he has every right to be the asshole that he's been, right? He's got every right to be exactly who he wants to be. And I've got every right to not be in that energy if I don't want to be. And so that one thing was enough for me to go home and say it's over. I'm leaving. You know, well, he had to leave. It was my house, right? So, and so in that process, we separated, and I did a really deep dive into how come this had happened again. Now, this is what I have discovered. We have been conditioned from childhood. Couple of things. One is to be influenced by others, right? When we're children, we need others to support us. We need food, we need clothing, we need warmth and security and safety and love and nurturing and all of those things. And they come from external, right? As soon as you get that umbilical cord cut, all of a sudden you're separate, right? And so you're learning that you need to behave a certain way to get the things that help you to survive in this world, in this planet. And we've all grown up in a world where it's very masculine orientated, masculine energy orientated, very much in the doing, right? When you do this, you get that. When you behave this way, you get good things, you get nurtured. When you behave this way, you're going to get punished. And so we learn how to behave, right? Well, we have all grown up in a society that is very masculine orientated. You know, corporate is action, 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 results, results, results. Success is, you know, squash people, go up the ladder, all of those things. And it's become who we are. And as we've evolved as a society, women have been moved into that space of, you know, being powerful, being, you know, we have the right to live the way we choose to be, right? Before it was, this is a woman's role and you've got to do it this way, and don't, you know, don't be seen, heard, and make sure you're wearing the right dress and looking pretty and all of that jazz. And that was just before I was on the planet, right? I mean, I know I've had stories of friends talking about being ridiculed by other women on the train when she was going to school because she didn't have stockings on, right? So life was very strict. And so we moved into this place of, you know, women's rights and liberation and all of those things. And it was needed because in that process, you know, we didn't even have the right, not even that we didn't have the right to vote. If our husband died, our children were given to his family. Like, we didn't even have the right to keep and hold on to our own children. Like, there was a lot of restriction for women, right? Plus all of the, you know, the way we had to perform and the way, you know, we had to behave and all of these things, right? So women's lib sort of came along, and we've got the right. We can work just as hard as a man, and we can vote, and we can work in whatever profession and do whatever we want to because we're powerful, right? Now you bring that, like, that was needed. That was to create equality. That was needed, and then somehow that evolved into women getting the rights to work wherever they want to, and having to go home and cook and clean and look after the children and all of those things. Generally, I'm generalizing here, right? And what's happened is we have gone into full-on masculine mode of do, overwhelm, because we want a career, we want to experience ourselves as fully, you know, developed a human being and to experience ourselves to our highest capacity, and got sort of caught up in this wave of having to put all of this effort in and stay in the masculine energy of performance and structure and doing, right? So we have all of these things that we're doing, and careers, and socializing, and blah blah blah, all of these things, and I'd love for you to comment, what you think about this, because all of these things, and then when we come into a relationship needs reciprocal energy, right? So if you've got a partner that's in a masculine energy, right, and you're also in masculine energy, there's that butting of heads. There's this energy of, and no sort of structure of who's going to do what and what's going, and on top of that, in my opinion, as we have evolved and moved into being powerful women and having rights and all of those things, men have also gone into this space of, well, where are we? What's our role? What are we? And I am talking male and female here at the moment, right? What is our role? Because innately men are the hunters, like the hunters and providers for the family. It's in our DNA, it's in their genetics. And women are now taking that role on and being superpower, right? So unconsciously, men have gone, well, where do we find that, that energy of the battle? Where do we find that energy of being the survivor, like the fighter? And so next thing we know, all of that energy is going into video games and drinking, it's being numbed with drinking, or whatever it might be, and not actually stepping up, because there is, where do they step up when the women have been taking all of the role and now burning out, like full on burning out. There's so much burnout in corporate with women trying to be the, in that equal footing. So Judy's just put here, realised relationship could be better, but love I felt sustained me till day I fell pregnant, and he shut down, then became aggressive, but took me 3 years to leave till I stopped loving him. I kept trying to help him as I'd done for rejecting parents. Yeah, it was 3 years I think it was about 3 years for me too. I couldn't believe the shift when we got married, and for you it was when you fell pregnant. And we've got to remember, right, men have their own wounds, and it's a crazy world out there where we're trying to find this balance, and there's beliefs out there that are sort of running the way things are supposed to be, and men have been brought up, men don't cry and don't show your emotions and all of those things. And so there's so much resistance and tethering to our identity that has, that needs to be broken apart and looked at. Because what I recognized in this whole experience was that in my success, in my strong woman energy, I was doing and I was not being. And I was not in my feminine flow. I was not in my nurturing energy. I was not being in my vulnerable state. And so therefore, in my powerful, ambitious, strong, successful energy, I was attracting men that wanted to be mothered and looked after and supported, because they didn't get that from their mother. Both of the relationships that I had very dysfunctional, wounded women, like their mothers were very dysfunctional, and or dysfunctional experiences as they were growing up. And it wasn't until I started recognizing and letting go of that masculine and being able to support myself to be feminine and to be okay with being gentle, loving, nurturing, showing that soft side, feeling safe, feeling safe to, yeah, Judy, there's so many of us, right? Feeling safe to be vulnerable, feeling safe to show our femininity, feeling safe to allow ourselves and our beauty to shine through. Because there's so many, there's a lot. I mean, I could go down the rabbit hole of how that looks, right? Like when there's generations and past lives of women that have been persecuted, um, you know, full on abused in horrible ways for allowing their beauty and their light to shine, right? And so we close up. And so letting down all of this and allowing my softness to come in for myself first, right? I had to allow myself to experience it and to know that it was safe, because, I remember being in my life as a kid and getting too much attention. So you naturally sort of, start pulling back and you naturally hide it, right? And so allowing myself to feel safe and knowing that I had a choice and that I could say no and all of those things was a process that I went through. And even, and the result is that I went down the beach, moved to a new location, went down the beach and thought I was the only one there. It was a long day online. And I went to just put my feet in the water before I made dinner, and this beautiful man walks past and waves at me. And here I am as a healer, and his last name is Makepeace, right? Like, what are the odds? And so here I am now in this beautiful relationship, really connected, really supported, witnessed for who I am. I witness him for who he is. We're on the same page. We've got this beautiful flow that we connect with. Like there's all of the things that I energetically shifted within myself are the things that I now have in my relationship. But what was really interesting was when I first moved into this, it was a couple of months. I think it must have been about 4, maybe 5 months, and I noticed like he didn't eat the way I did, and I noticed that a couple of times I'd said to him, you shouldn't be eating that. That's really unhealthy for you. I don't want you to die on me, right? And it was the third time I said it. I was at an event, and I said it again, and it hit me like I lost my breath. It was like, like this, and I had this realization that where I was coming from, what my unconscious was saying that I wasn't aware of, was that I didn't want him to die, because the last man that had loved me as much as he loved me was my dad, and he died when I was 15. And so there was this, I still hadn't completely let my heart melt and completely open myself and be safe with him. And so lucky got the opportunity to do all of those things now, because I have I have recoding and am able to change the energy of those things. So yeah, initial attraction's a bugger of a thing, isn't it? so ladies, I would love for you to share in the comment where you're at, what sort of relationship. Are you in a relationship? Are you, steering clear? Are you fine being single, or are you single? Tell me all the things, because those relationships, when you're a strong woman, it's all about finding that balance of masculine and feminine, so that you can then attract a man that wants to be a man, so you've got this beautiful flow of energy between you and, masculine and feminine energy, and that they can be in their masculine and feminine, right? Like, it's not that female and male only have feminine or masculine. It's that both of you have a healthy combination of both and want to contribute in both capacities, you know, like being safe, feeling safe in a relationship, feeling like you want to contribute, feeling nurtured, feeling witnessed. All of those things are what create a healthy, uplifted, wholesome relationship. And so one of the things I want to share with you before I go is that this full moon, which is this Thursday, we have an event on called Ascension. Now, there's two points to this. One is what we're going to be doing is we're looking at releasing the energy of compromising, releasing the energy of where we have been in relationship and we've been in heated conversations and not being able to speak up, not being able to have our voice heard, and settling for less than, right, and compromising in some way. And so whether you're in a relationship now or one that's been you've had previously, it doesn't matter. It's releasing the energy of compromising because it's still in your system if it hasn't been sorted out. So we're going to be doing a really deep meditation ritual process to support that and release that out of our energy so that we can move into, you know, uplifted, wholesome relationships and bring more of that energy in, attract more of that. So that's the first thing that we're going to be doing. But there's also a little bit of a surprise because we have been, as a company here, we've had a lot of changes. We've moved from sole trader. I've moved from being a sole trader to a company. There's been new branding. There's a whole heap of things that are happening in the background that I want to celebrate with you. I want to support you to and show you. There's a name change for our business page. There's a whole heap of things, and I'm going to introduce you to a special, exciting new part of our business, a new guide that's going to be a support and journey through all things relationship, right? So that we can all be in conscious, uplifted, wholesome relationships. So if you want the link to, Hey Steph, so lovely to have you. I'm just about to jump off. You have to go back and watch the replay, hon. If you want the link to our event, this full moon Ascension, just put a love heart in the comments and we will send you the link so that you can join us, or a star, because I think I said love heart before. So love heart or star, whichever feels right for you. And we will see you on the full moon. On own now, 40 plus years after beloved died and close friends also. Yeah, it's I was by myself for 10 years, then in a relationship, and then 12 years the next time. So but you know, do you still want to be in a relationship, Judy, or is it something that you're looking at? You'd rather just live by yourself now, because we've got a choice, right? So, ladies, I will see you on the flip side. It's free. Ascension is free. It's our monthly masterclass. So, this is going to be a beautiful support for us as a community. So. I will get Irene, my assistant, to send you the link, Judy, and we will catch you all next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, where we're going to be talking about dating a player. I've got a friend that's just dated a player, like only one date, but oh my gosh, she should have seen it coming. So we're going to talk about that. Okay, take care, ladies, and we'll catch you next Tuesday. If not, I'll see you on Thursday at the Ascension.